yes
Are
or
they
no?
intentionally killing kids? Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
No, they are not.
So
That is
why are there
complete
so
BS.
many dead kids? Why are you okay with dead babies?
Good question. Why are there dead kids? Because Hamas has no
of war
care.
crimes,
Time out.
Israel.
So you think Israel? Let me get this straight. Let's think how irrational it is. Israel sits
Are you
around.
okay with dead
Let me hold on.
babies?
I want to make sure this is okay.
No,
Charlie Kirk faces off against a college student who tries to challenge Charlie Kirk on his Christian beliefs, his defense of Israel, and controversial claims about Jewish texts and the Israeli military. But instead of backing down, Charlie Kirk does what Charlie Kirk always does. He calmly fact-checks the nonsense, exposes the weak arguments, and holds the student accountable for spreading misinformation. From religious confusion to loaded war crime accusations, Charlie Kirk stays sharp and focused, flipping the script and leaving the student totally speechless. Let's hear what this student has to say to Charlie Kirk.
Yes, sir.
how are you doing today, man? How you doing? How you doing?
Padres are good this year.
Yeah, they are. And I just want to start off by saying I have no disrespect to any other religion. I respect all religion. This is more of a question for you and whether or not you can confirm this. The Talmud states that Jews are the chosen people and all non-Jews are goyim, here to serve them. You are a Christian who's clearly serving the Jews, defending Zionism with all you got. But you also believe Jesus is a rabbinic Jew in heaven when you know the Talmud states he's in hell burning in feces.
Okay, so you're a Talmudic expert, right? Which Talmud is that in? Jerusalem or Babylonian?
I'm talking about Jerusalem, sir.
Oh, that's the Jerusalem, which actually is not as divinely inspired. Which one's longer and how long is it? Don't look at your phone. Look at me in the eye.
I'm not
No, come
really
on.
aware.
You said that I'm a tool of the Jews, so look at me in the eye like a
I never
man.
said I'm talking about the Talmud.
No, you accused me of saying like you're a Zionist or something, right?
I mean, do you support Israel?
Yes, of course I do. Yes.
Okay, that's good for you. But that's another thing. You're an advocate for the military in America.
Hold on, time out,
But
time
then
out, time
you
out.
agree with Israel's war crimes. What's up with that?
Oh, war crimes. We'll get into that, but let's be more specific.
Yeah.
What is your point here of dragging up a multi-thousand-year text that you don't know, that you haven't read?
I mean, it's
you
your
have not
religion.
even. Have you
You're gonna
purchased the
agree with
Talmud?
it.
Have you read the Talmud? What is the Talmud? Tell me the difference between the Torah, the Tanakh, and the Talmud. Go ahead.
I don't know.
Oh, you don't know.
But
That's
that's-
pretty important. Time out.
that's
So
why I'm-
what you did is you cherry-picked something on the internet that makes Jews look bad, but you can't tell me the difference between the Torah and the Tanakh and the
I'm
Talmud.
not trying to make the Jews look
No,
bad.
no, but
What
no,
I'm
no,
trying to tell
this
you-
is ridiculous. This is for clickbait. Let me tell you the difference. The Torah is the books that we as Christians acknowledge: Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, and Deuteronomy, the most holy scriptures in Judaism. The Tanakh is also our Old Testament, right? That's Joshua, Judges, First and Second Kings, Hezekiah, Nehemiah, Ezekiel. The Talmud are rabbinic debates spanning over 500 years, of which there's the Babylonian and the Jerusalem Talmud. The Babylonian's actually more inspired. It's 2.5 million words. The Jerusalem is lesser inspired, and they disagree on all sorts of stuff, and they pick it up. Those are people that would they
So
say, well, I
that's why
disagree
I'm
with that.
asking you if
No,
you
but hold on
agree
a
or
second.
not.
But it's very important. You don't even know the stuff that you're bringing up to this event.
That's why I'm asking you.
No,
do
no,
you
no, no.
agree?
It's really important because what you're trying is like this context. You're a tool of the
It's
Jews,
just-
and I read this thing. But
It's
let's just make this
a-
very clear.
Sir, it's an agree to a disagreement. I'm not here
It's
to
not agree to
argue.
disagreement.
Do you
It's
agree
very
with what
clear.
he
Is
said
that
or not?
you don't even know the stuff you're bringing up to make
So
someone
that's why
look
I'm
bad.
asking you, do you agree or disagree so I can
Of
be
course, I
knowledgeable on it?
disagree with rabbinic
There you
Judaism.
go.
I'm a
So-
Christian.
so
Jesus is the solution.
you
I hope
mastered
every Jew
this-
gives their life to
this-
Christ.
This debating thing and
But hold on, this is
communication.
very important.
You're trying to get clicks out of it. All I'm asking you if
No,
if
you
agree
were
or
trying to get
disagree.
clicks out. Who was trying to get clicks? He was trying to get clicks
I don't have a
out
YouTube
of
channel.
trying to read the Talmud. You don't even know what it is, the Talmud.
Okay, that's why I'm asking
Let
what
me
I'm-
ask you a question. Do we as Christians have a biblical obligation to the Jews?
I mean, you tell me since I'm not knowledgeable on it.
Yes, we do. Paul says.
don't? Hold up.
That's fine. Yes, I'm
You
sure.
don't?
I'm sure we're gonna have a Catholic disagree. The people say we're the new Israel.
But you're
hold on a
Christian.
second.
How can you believe that there's the chosen people? You're Christian.
Hold on
You
a second,
you
because
believe in
Paul
God?
said first to the Jews.
Okay.
Paul was around in a time after the resurrection of Christ. Don't you acknowledge that there was something special in the book of Exodus when God decided to work miraculously of those people out of Egypt and bring them into the desert? Isn't that a chosen people? Secondly, the covenant, the law, the Decalogue, the Torah. They are the keepers of the law. In fact, that's why it says in Galatians 3, the law is a school teacher of Jesus Christ. Genesis 12:3, if you bless Israel, I will bless you. Same thing in the book of Numbers. And so what I'm getting at, we as Christians are bound to bless the state of Israel and to bless Jews.
Jews. How can you bless yourself, man?
Of course, but let's just
why
talk
do
more
you
about
believe in
Israel.
Jews?
Do you think, who's the bad actor, Israel or Hamas?
I believe that what Hamas is doing wrong, but that's not okay for what Israel is doing to the Palestinians.
What is Israel doing exactly? Tell me in detail. Where is it
war
happening?
crimes, just
War crimes, really? How?
What do you mean how? They're killing little kids, man.
Well,
Isn't it
hold on.
obvious?
Killing kids. You mean wait, they
human.
drop leaflets before they bomb in Gaza? They warn civilian corridors before they ever engage militarily. They do emergency medical procedures for any person in Gaza that might need it. Do you understand what's actually?
They're doing good, but it's okay for them to do bad. Then that's what
it's
you're
called
basically
war,
saying.
okay? And in war, sometimes
War,
bad things happen.
but it's a
Who
war
started
crime.
this? It's not a
War
war crime.
crime.
Throwing around war crime is a ridiculous. You know what a war crime is? A war crime is going into
killing
kibbutzes.
children is a
Time
war
out.
crime.
Going into kibbutzes, going into the Nova Music Festival, going into people's places of residences on October 7th, and putting.
So okay, you guys keep bringing up October 7th. You guys are doing
yeah,
bad.
it's pretty important.
You got okay.
If you're going to all of a
right,
sudden
yeah.
attack Jews on their holiest day of the interior of Israel, expect a
let's
whirlwind
say
and don't
October
complain
7th.
about it when it comes
Okay,
forward.
but- So what's happening is that
Because if you're going to
I
go
need
into
to
the
ask you
interior of
something,
Israel and start babies'
bad-
throats in their homes,
Sir,
not even
give
going
me a
after
second, please.
military.
Can I say something, please? So basically, what Israel doing is bad. Hamas is doing is bad. Okay.
I'm not even contending what
listen.
Israel is doing is bad.
So what Israel doing isn't bad. Killing children isn't bad, is what you're saying?
Hold on a second, but you have to go
Is it-
instance
is
by.
it or not?
Are,
I need a yes
are
or
they
no.
intentionally killing kids? Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
No, they are not.
So why
that is
are there
complete
so
BS.
many dead kids? Why are you okay with
Why,
dead babies?
good question. Why are there dead kids? Because Hamas has
'Cause
no
of war
care.
crimes
Time out.
in Israel.
So you think Israel? Let me get this straight. Let's think how irrational it is. Israel sits
Are you
around.
okay with dead
Let me hold on.
babies?
I want to make sure this is okay.
No, I need
Of
a
course,
yes or
I'm not
no
okay
from
with dead kids.
Okay,
Okay,
so
ridiculous. I'm
why
the
do
most
you agree
pro-life
with
person. I've
Israel? What
debated
it's
for 2
doing?
hours. Time out. Stop interrupting me. Do you think
You're
Israel? Do you think Israel sits around? And they say, How do we kill more kids in Gaza today?
That line was so over the top. I couldn't believe he actually said it. But again, Charlie Kirk doesn't miss a beat. Like, Charlie Kirk didn't fall into the trap. Charlie Kirk explained exactly how Hamas uses kids as human shields, how Israel warns civilians before attacks, and how Charlie Kirk stands for life. And let's not forget, Charlie Kirk has debated pro-life topics for years, so he's not just throwing stuff out. Charlie Kirk cares about human life, and Charlie Kirk made sure everyone knew just how twisted that student's framing really was.
I mean, so why are they killing kids then?
Exactly. Let's think. Maybe it's because Hamas uses the kids as human shields on top of their military bases. Maybe that's why. Maybe because the people of Hamas have no concern
You are not
for the
okay
life
in
of their own
head
people.
If you really believe that, all right,
I mean-
you gotta be really stupid, man, to actually assume that that's the case.
We have documented cases of Hamas using
Okay, man,
hospitals,
yeah.
schools, and military installations layered with civilians. In fact, IDF goes to such great extent when do you understand?
Okay.
So let me just ask you, how do you think
Okay, let me
Israel
ask
should
you-
have responded?
can I ask you
1,300 people die. How should Israel respond?
Can I ask you something? Because you've had your chance. Can I talk for you?
Answer it.
Can
How
I-
should Israel respond? 1,300 civilians
All right.
killed. How should Israel
Charlie
respond?
Kirk, Mr. Kirk, you had your chance to talk. Can I ask you something?
Okay, no answer.
Are you okay with kids dying? Yeah.
No,
Okay,
every
are you
kid
okay with
dying
kids
is a
dying?
tragedy,
Okay.
of course.
Okay, right? So then again, Israelis are killing the kids. Yes or no?
It's
Are they-
collateral damage in a war, of course.
Okay.
America, we killed tens of thousands of
So,
kids in World War II unintentionally.
For the one
It's what
person that
happens.
dies, it's okay to kill 10 kids. Is basically what you're saying.
That's actually not what's happening at all.
That is because you're blaming on October 7th. What did happen
Again,
is bad.
every human life is a tragedy. You must
Okay.
understand, in war, of which Hamas invited upon themselves. Hamas basically said, we're going to go invite and provoke you, Israel, and then they're complaining that Israel's better at war than them. That's what's happening.
Killing kids is not better at war.
Okay,
that's
again,
basically what's happening.
to
That's not
understand
okay.
the military context of what's happening in Gaza, it is a complete wasteland. Understand, the combatants of
pretty good at
Hamas,
arguing, man. I'm
the
gonna give you that. You're a good
combatants of
debater.
Hamas, they're indistinguishable to that of civilians. They don't use the actual rules of engagement. They don't wear uniforms. IDF wears uniforms. No one in Hamas wears uniform. That's not correct. They don't wear uniforms. They disguise themselves as civilians. They'll do bombing all the time against IDF. This is the hardest war that any military has ever had to fight in the modern context.
Okay.
And spare me the nitpicking of the Western world saying,
You're
oh,
nitpicking
well,
with October 7th. You can't talk about nitpicking.
here's a moral difference. You know the moral difference?
It's
October
just that
7th.
one little thing. that
Little
was bad.
thing.
Okay, look.
October 7th was a little thing.
What happened was bad, yes.
It was unspeakably
bad.
evil. You know why?
Okay, it was bad.
Because
Is killing
number one,
babies
it was not in a
bad?
theater of war. Number two, they didn't go after military targets. This is how cowardly Hamas is. They didn't go after Israel military
I
bases.
agree with Hamas?
No, I'm not saying that, but understand
Okay,
the moral difference.
What I'm with is the Palestinians and the fact that there's kids dying, there's people dying.
I don't like kids dying, but you know who's
Exactly.
responsible
So
for the
we're
kids
agreeing.
dying? Hamas is responsible for the
Israelis.
kids dying,
And
not
Israelis.
Israel.
And Israel.
Hamas is
And
responsible
Israel.
for their own kids dying.
Okay.
They provoked
Okay.
Israel.
Can I
Israel
ask you another
responds.
question? Charlie Kirk, what's
Yeah,
the,
by the way, that's another great.
what's the
Thank
thing
you for
that
bringing
Jews wear again?
that. The kippah or the yarmulke?
Yarmulke. I've seen a video of you wearing it, yes?
Yes, out of adoration and respect when I went to the Western Wall.
Okay,
Correct.
I was just curious,
Do you know
that's
why
all.
they wear it actually?
I don't.
Because
but-
they believe that Hashem is always above you and that God is always judging you. And as a Christian, I have a more nuanced theological view than that, but I think it's actually a beautiful thing. I think it's a beautiful thing to wear something
Yeah,
above your head and believe there's
it's
a
like
God
a
who
culture
judges you
thing.
and designs you.
It's
I
just a
can
culture
respect
thing.
that.
I celebrate other cultures as well. I was just curious.
Yeah.
I appreciate you for having this argument.
Okay, again, in closing,
In closing,
just like,
we agreed to
if
disagree.
Israel dropped down all their weapons, what would happen?
I believe Hamas will drop down and we'll live in peace. If Israel dropped down all their weapons, I'm in hope that Hamas will do the same. In hope. I can't hope for no war. I'm in hope.
Hamas's charter is the elimination of the Jewish state.
I'm in hope that Hamas will drop all their weapons. I'm in hope. I'm in hope that this war stops in general.
No one likes what's
Nobody
happening.
likes war.
However,
You
we
don't,
must
I
be
don't.
morally clear why it started.
Yeah.
What was the beginning of it? What was the genesis? And the
Yeah,
genesis
yeah.
was Hamas on one of the holiest days on the Jewish calendar, which is Torah. They decided to go on Shabbat,
Okay.
not to attack military bases,
Okay.
not to go after the IDF. They went into homes. They went to kibbutzes. They went to music festivals. They took hostages. And guess what? When they went back to Gaza, they were celebrated as heroes. They threw rave parties for these terrorists. They weren't like, whoa, this is kind of
What Hamas
wrong.
is doing is bad. What Israel
I
is
agree,
doing is
but
bad
there's a
as
much
well.
deeper cancer and a rot happening in Gaza than just Hamas.
I can say the same thing about Israel.
Really?
I just can't.
How could you say that?
Here's where Charlie Kirk brings it all together. The student tried to equate Israel with Hamas, and Charlie Kirk was like, hold up, that's just not the same. Charlie Kirk broke down how Arabs actually have seats in the Israeli government, how Israel is a diverse democracy, and how Charlie Kirk supports truth over trendy narratives. What I really respect is how Charlie Kirk stood firm. Charlie Kirk isn't afraid to support Israel, even when it's unpopular. And Charlie Kirk made it clear he's not going to sit back while people trash the only Jewish state on earth.
Do you know that there are Arab members of the Knesset? Are there Jewish members of the Gaza or Palestinian Authority? You know that there's an Arab member of the Israeli Supreme Court?
I understand, man.
No, this is important because I don't like, again, I'm an America First guy, but I'm also a truth seeker. And I
Okay.
don't like to see the singular
sir.
Jewish state of half the world's Jewry maligned and slandered every single day for
not
no good
slandering
reason.
them.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
At the end of the day, Charlie Kirk didn't just win this debate. Charlie Kirk dominated it. The student came with weak internet talking points, but Charlie Kirk brought facts, context, and clarity. From religious history to modern military ethics, Charlie Kirk walked the audience through every layer of the issue. And when the emotional jabs didn't land, Charlie Kirk kept it respectful but firm. That's why Charlie Kirk keeps going viral. Because when the pressure's on, Charlie Kirk brings the heat without ever losing his cool.